This is Pat McCormack and you're watching the Sport Nation on this.
Alright everyone, I hope you don't mind that I actually record the video this way rather than me do images and all that kind of stuff, which can be a little bit time consuming. I thought I'd do this while I'm walking the little zombie-eyed Husker pup. 10 months old, my little boy named him Raiden. We've had him for, I don't know what, 6 months now, maybe a little bit longer. Disobedient as the day we got him. Anyway, and believe it or not, it's actually 20 past 10 at night. You wouldn't think so, would you? You really wouldn't think so, although it looks much brighter on my iPhone than what it actually is. But anyway, so I'm just walking the little Husker pup and I thought, you know what, let's just do a video on Andy Ruiz Jr. versus King Kong Luis Ortiz. Now apparently it's going to be on September the 24th, which happens to be a Sunday, and in Los Angeles. Now it's a bit of a strange day to have it, I suppose, on a Sunday. Why a Sunday? And in Los Angeles is famous for many things. Being a boxing city, not so much. Listen, I'm not saying no boxing happens. It does. For example, the first Wilder Fury fight happened in Los Angeles. Anyway, that said, now if you're a Andy Ruiz Jr. fan, of course you're going to be excited that he's taken on Luis Ortiz. If you're a Luis Ortiz fan, you're going to be excited that he's taken on Andy Ruiz Jr. But I think for most of us who just like boxing in general, it's an interesting fight, very interesting. But I do have a couple of concerns as far as both of them are concerned, really. Andy Ruiz Jr., he's had, well, one fight he's had since the Anthony Joshua fight. One against Chris Arreola. Now, him getting dropped in that fight against Chris Arreola, I mean, there's no great shame in that, really. I mean, Chris Arreola, he's always been a pretty decent puncher. But that was his first fight under new head coach Eddie Reynoso. For those of you who don't know who Eddie Reynoso is, he's the trainer and manager of Saul Canelo Alvarez and others, Frank Sanchez and that as well. But he didn't look great in that fight, and as much as he lost weight and all that kind of thing, it's the inactivity that would worry me from a Andy Ruiz Jr. perspective. It really is, because I think that the inactivity kills a lot of careers. It really does. Now, Luis Ortiz, yeah, he ain't no spring chicken for sure. And I do feel that Luis Ortiz is very, very much overrated. And I've always said that. But at least Luis Ortiz, he has had a fight more recently, which happened to be against Charles Martin. But he didn't look great in that fight. He even got dropped himself. Now, I expected Luis Ortiz to win that fight and win it by knockout. And I think most of you did too. But him getting dropped by Charles Martin was a little bit odd. It was. Now, is that age catching up with him? We don't know. And Lord knows he's apparently he's much older than what his official record actually says that it is. Apparently his amateur coach said add 10 years to it, and that's his real age. Anyway, what can you do? But it's a fight I'm looking forward to. It really is. And I think that the favourite in this fight is obviously going to be Andy Ruiz Jr., you would certainly imagine. But at the same time, what's the desire for Andy Ruiz Jr.? Of course, he earned, was it $7 million in the first fight of Anthony Joshua, and because he got the win, he earned a whole ton more in the rematch, 20 odd million apparently. So he's been living a life of silk pajamas, and who knows, maybe some pizzas and that, we don't know. I mean, how's he going to look against Luis Ortiz? How's he going to look, as in weight wise? Because last time out against Chris Arreola, he lost a whole bunch of weight, but that meant that his durability wasn't quite there. So that's going to be a little concerning if he comes in light again, because I don't know why. I think that him having that kind of weight on him helps him with his durability, because before Anthony Joshua dropped him the first time, he's never been dropped in his career. And him getting dropped against Chris Arreola, no great shame in that, as I said, but it was a little bit of a surprise. But Luis Ortiz looks like, especially against Charles Martin, he looked like he's on old legs now. But listen, anyway, I favour Andy Ruiz Jr. to win, but I wouldn't be surprised if Luis Ortiz wins, because again, I don't know how much desire is there for Andy Ruiz Jr. I really don't. And especially when he tried to get out of this fight, even though he signed a contract, he tried to get out of the contract by going to fight, was it Tyron Spong? I think it wasn't that Triller card. But then of course he got held back and said, you've got a contract here with Luis Ortiz. You're going to have to fulfill it. Now, ultimately, that's a bit of a thumb in the eye as well for the PBC, because he tried to walk away from the PBC by having a Triller card fight. So if this fight goes to the cards, don't be surprised if the PBC gets some kind of revenge on him, as in he doesn't get the decision. But again, we can only speculate on that. Anyway, That's my thoughts. You drop me yours, click thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.